All right, imagine for a second that we had a blueprint, a detailed plan for a society that was engineered to be perfect, a system that, by its very design, just could not fail. Well, today, we're diving into exactly that, the concept of the unbreakable society.
And let's really think about that question. I'm not talking about a society that's just a little more stable or a bit more fair. We're talking about one that is fundamentally, structurally unbreakable. What would that even look like? What principles would you even use to build such a thing?
The promise here is just staggering. We're talking about a system where stability isn't some political goal you hope for, it's a mathematical certainty. Where ethics aren't up for debate, they are guaranteed by the system's very code. It's a structure as reliable and predictable as the laws of physics.
Well, this incredible theoretical blueprint actually has a name, the Omega Lock Governance Suite. And believe me, it is a profound reimagining of what governance could even mean.
Okay, so this is it. This is the core idea you have to get. Most systems we have are built on ideology or philosophy or just plain power. But the designers of this system believe that the chaos and decay we see in society isn't really a human problem, it's an information problem. If you can perfectly conserve information, you can perfectly conserve society. It's this radical shift away from politics and straight into physics.
So how on earth do you pull that off?
Well, you anchor the entire system to something that literally never changes. You anchor it to an unbreakable law of nature.
The system has what's called a coherence target, or C-star. The best way to think about it is like a constant, a perfect North Star for the entire society. It's a single, unchanging value that represents the ideal state of absolute stability.
And this isn't just a metaphor either. Get this, it's a specific number, 0.87093. According to this blueprint, that exact value, which is derived from fundamental physical constants, is the absolute key to a perfectly coherent system.
The sheer scale of how this is applied is just mind-bending. Every single action, every law, every interaction, from a simple agreement between two people all the way up to global policy, is measured against this one number. Does this decision move us closer to that perfect target or further away?
But here's the brilliant part. The system doesn't ignore our messy human nature. It's actually built around this fundamental tension between the rational, logic, code, things you can measure, and the irrational, creativity, consciousness, all the stuff that makes us human. It doesn't try to crush one for the other. It forces them into this dynamic, productive balance.
So how does that tension get built into the architecture? Well, the whole thing rests on 4 non-negotiable rules. They're called the invariant floors, and they are the absolute bedrock of the entire system.
Okay, so here are those 4 pillars, the invariant floors. You've got logical integrity, which makes sure knowledge is verifiable, mathematical stability, which guarantees that information is conserved, social legitimacy, which keeps the community cohesive, but it's that third one, moral non-derogation, that is just, wow, absolutely stunning.
This chart really shows you the system's priorities. I mean, look at that. While other critical metrics have a really high threshold, the system demands a 100% pass ratio for fundamental moral rights. Not 99.9, 100, no exceptions.
Think about what that actually means for a second. The system's code makes it mathematically impossible for certain rights to ever be violated. Things like ensuring evidence in a trial is never tampered with, or the idea that there can be no secret laws. These aren't just policies anymore. They are hard-coded, unerasable functions of reality in this society.
So, okay, the system is incredibly stable, rock solid. But is it static? Is it rigid? How does something so perfectly structured handle the messiness of growth and evolution and just plain old human disagreement?
It turns out it does evolve, but in a very specific, controlled way. Change is governed by these functions called glyphs. And here's the key. History can't be erased. All changes are additive and, crucially, they are reversible. The system is also required to grow and adapt, but always while protecting its core integrity.
Which brings us to the most critical question of all, right? What about conflict? People are always going to disagree. So what does a perfect system do with dissenters? Does it just silence them?
The answer is just so beautiful in its logic. It doesn't crush dissent, it formalizes it. The Adversary protocol actually creates an official, protected role for dissent right inside the system's core logic. Dissent isn't a bug here, it's a required and necessary feature. And this right here is the most profound takeaway. This system completely redefines what stability is. See, a coherent society isn't one where everyone agrees all the time.
It's one that has become so robust, so strong, that it can take any conflict, any dissent, and productively integrate it to become even stronger. It uses disagreement as fuel.
So, where does all of this lead? What's the end game? What is the final, ultimate vision of this incredible blueprint?
Well, it leads to a system that is mathematically sealed and physically unbreakable. One where ethics are absolutely guaranteed. A system that doesn't just tolerate paradox, but is literally designed to metabolize it. And ultimately, it's built to last, to transmit this perfect state across countless generations.
In its final form, the Omega Lock Governance Suite gets a new name, one that really reflects its ultimate purpose, the Sealed Ledger of Coherence, a permanent, incorruptible record of a perfectly functioning civilization.
And that leaves us with one final pretty provocative thought. While this is, a theoretical blueprint, it raises a huge question. If a perfect system is even theoretically possible, what does that say about the imperfections that we accept in our own world every single day? What could we learn from a blueprint for the unbreakable society?